Hear, O heavens, and listen, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have reared and brought up sons, but they have rebelled against me and have broken away. The ox knows its owner, the donkey its master's feeding trough, but Israel does not know me as Lord. My people do not understand. To whom then will you liken God? Or with what likeness will you compare him? As for the cast image idol, a metal worker casts it, a goldsmith overlays it with gold, and a silversmith casts its silver chains. He who is too impoverished for such an offering to give to his God chooses a tree that will not rot. He seeks out for himself a skilful craftsman to carve and set up an idol that will not totter. The folly of idolatry. All who make carved idols are nothing. Their precious objects are worthless, and their own witnesses fail to see or know, so that they will be put to shame. Who has made a god or cast an idol which is profitable for nothing? In fact, all his companions will be put to shame, for the craftsmen themselves are mere men. Let them all assemble, let them stand up, let them be terrified, let them together be put to shame. The ironsmith shapes iron and uses a chisel and works it over the coals. He forms the idol's core with hammers and works it with his strong arm. He also becomes hungry and his strength fails. He drinks no water and grows tired. The carpenter stretches out a measuring line. He marks out the shape of the idol with red chalk. He works it with planes and outlines it with compass, and he makes it like the form of a man, like the beauty of man that sit in a house. He cuts cedars for himself, and takes a cypress or an oak, and lets it grow strong for himself among the trees of the forest. He plants a fir, and the rain nourishes it. Then it becomes fuel for a man to burn. So he takes one of them and warms himself. He also kindles a fire to bake bread. He also makes a god from the same wood and worships it. He makes it into a carved idol with his own hands, and falls down and worships it. He burns half of the wood in the fire. Over this half he cooks and eats meat. He roasts meat and is satisfied. Also he warms himself and says, "Aha, I am warm. I have seen the fire." But from what is left of the wood he makes a god, his carved idol. He falls down before it, he worships it, and prays to it, and says, "Save me, for you are my God." They do not know, nor do they understand, for God has muddied their eyes so they cannot see, and their hearts as well so that they cannot understand. No one remembers, nor has knowledge and understanding enough to say to himself, "I have burned half of this log in the fire, and also baked bread on its coals, and have roasted meat and eaten it. Then I make the rest of it into a repulsive thing to God. I bow down to worship before a block of wood." That kind of man, the idolater, feeds on ashes and is satisfied with ashes. A deceived mind has led him astray so that he cannot save himself or ask, "Is this thing that I am holding in my right hand not a lie?" a satire on idolatry. Hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord: Do not learn the way of the pagan nations, and do not be terrified and distressed by the signs of the heavens, although the pagans are terrified by them. For the customs and decrees of the people are mere delusion. It is only wood which one cuts from the forest to make a god, the works of the hands of the craftsman with an axe or cutting tool. They adorn the idol with silver and with gold. They fasten it with hammers and nails so that it will not fall apart. They are like scarecrows in a cucumber field. They cannot speak. They have to be carried because they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they can do no harm or evil, nor can they do any good. There is none like you, O Lord. You are great, and great is your mighty and powerful name. Who would not fear you, O King of the nations? For it is appropriate and it is your due. For among all the wise men of the nations and on all their kingdoms, there is none like you. But they are altogether irrational and stupid and foolish in their discipline of delusion. Their idol is only wood. It's ridiculous, empty, and worthless. Silver that has been beaten into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Ubsa. The work of the craftsman and of the hand of the goldsmith, violet and purple are their clothing. They are all the work of skilled men. But the Lord is true God, and the God who is truth. He is the living God and the everlasting King. The earth quakes and shudders at his wrath, and the nations are not able to endure his indignation. In this manner you shall say to them, The gods that did not make the heavens and the earth will perish from the earth and from under the heavens. My people consult their lifeless wooden idol, and their wand gives them oracles. For a spirit of prostitution has led them astray, morally and spiritually. Now, just to summarize all the verses we went through, I would like to ask you one thing. Were you able to speculate and ponder over the truth? Why we, the creation, is creating our own gods and then worshipping it? Has the standard of your so-called God fallen to mere man's handiwork? Remember, Acts 17 verse 24 says, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwells not in the temples made with hands. May your Creator talk to you and help you know him.